And as we take a look at some of our Alaska news for this Thursday morning, it is September 14th, 2017. Alaska has now lost jobs 22 months in a row. That's kind of a big deal, especially when you consider that the big recession in the 1980s saw job losses for 25 months in a row. We're likely to get there. Now, part of the issue is that we're only losing jobs at about 2%. Compared to the 7% or so a year of job loss that we had back in the 1980s. So depending on how you want to spin things, you could say, well, it's not as bad as it was. You could say, wow, we're in a deep recession. There is yet another couple of homicides in Anchorage. We mentioned the one yesterday where a man who was found dead in a paint store. Now someone has been picked up and he's not been charged with murder yet, but he is a person of interest. And they are investigating that as a homicide. Also now, 3 men killed in a shooting at a gold and silver business in Anchorage. Now, it hasn't been released, and it's not clear yet whether those 3 men were customers, owners, criminals. We don't know. All we do know is we have a person in custody for it, and on this Tuesday night, the Anchorage Assembly's like, what's going on here? They called the Anchorage Police Chief in, and he said, oh, those are just contained incidents. We've got both of those criminals locked up already. In Fairbanks, police are investigating the death of a man found in his home on 17th Avenue as a homicide. And in Anchorage, yet another interesting situation, a woman accused of a terroristic threat toward the Anchorage Museum. Now, what happened, apparently, she was on a loading dock area. She was asked to leave by the museum staff. She refused. They called the police. The police came. She claimed that she had an explosive in her backpack, that she was going to blow herself, the museum, and the police up. Well, at the point when she threatened the police, they turned to pepper spray, and they sprayed her. And then she still was combative, so they tased her. And she still was combative, so they took her into custody, and she's got a whole litany of charges. Not clear she actually had a bomb in her backpack, but the museum was able to open on time at 9 a.m. The Juneau Planning Commission has approved a road extension over the concerns that Fish and Game have that it might improve access to the deer and might put them under more hunting pressure. Representative Tammy Wilson has been charged with ethics violations for using state resources because she put a return address on the postcard that would have people contact her at her legislative information office about the wood smoke issue. We can talk about this at some point. Not really sure where the crime was or what she did by putting an address on it. She says no state resources were used. They say, well, that is using a state resource. And we have more stories than we have time for. If you want to learn about UberEats coming to Anchorage, or about the troopers that killed the brown bear, or about an overdose-reducing drug coming to schools in the Kenai Peninsula, then become a subscriber at radiofreespeech.com and get the full 30 to 40-minute audio version delivered directly to your inbox every morning. radiofreespeech.com.